I think we're live. I have to check. I think we're live. I have to check, but I believe we're live. I'm going to check the website, see if my little face is on there. Yes, we are live. Yep, we're there. That's all I needed to see. Welcome, Nerdiverse, to a very special MOTN Live, where you are given full opportunity to speak with me, Jason Voorhees himself, Mike G, on this Friday the 13th. Uh-oh. Michael Vortex, to taste that, I hate that. It's no good. So, thank you for watching. I just want to guys give you a heads up on what's going on. For this evening, it will just be me. Toots may pop in chat at some point and watch is otherwise indisposed. So we keep the party going. And for some reason, my multi-chat wasn't working. So for those on Twitch, I do apologize. I will troubleshoot later and figure out what exactly is going on. I have no idea. But here we are live, and I honestly do not know what I am doing. And that's okay. I do want to test chat, just to make sure chat's working. Just to see if I'm getting any chats. So I am going to do a little bit of my exception here. Hey you, let's see if anything pops up. See if it pops up into our interface here. Doesn't look like it's popping up. So while I have it just for myself, we're going to do some testing. Oh yeah. So this advanced widget thing doesn't look like it's working, but we're going to test it out a little bit more. At least I know I can see it on this end. But let me see it on this end. Let's see what we got going. Where are you, chat? Reveal yourself. There we are. Add source. Add source. Alright, where is my chat box? It's over here. I'll throw that bad boy over here for now. And see what we can do. One thing I can say is that with the updates to the stream, things are going a little smoother. I can say that. Test. See if anything pops up. For some reason, we're not getting our chat. I guess that's okay. Let's see. Chat box. Browser settings. Oh, that looks good. Close. Yeah. Very uncool. Very undude. Well, maybe it is. Nope, that shouldn't be affecting it. Interesting, interesting. You may ask, why am I wearing a mask? Because is the simple answer. For some reason, our chat's not coming in. I'm just going to use this time to do some testing. See, pops up there just fine. This is MOTN. Figured it out. And it's showing an ode. And this is normally MOTN Live, where my two cohorts would be. And chat's popping up just fine there. But if I'm going to go back to, let's say, ISO on mic, nearly a chat to be seen. Let's see. What if I hide this eye? I saw an island in Iowa or Wyoming. We're just messing around here, peoples. I'm going to add it to our scene. Perfect. Let's go back to our editor. And it should have been added. I'm going to delete one and delete the other. And I'm going to test again. Everything's moving really smooth. I'm really impressed with it so far. Just trying to get it to work. And it doesn't look like it wants to work. Done. Let's move this guy over here. No. Let's shrink this down a little bit. Move it over here. Nothing. That's okay. It could be nothing. Because we are working on things. And that's apparently what this stream is going to be. Because I am definitely afraid of doing this all on my own. Which is why, if you've noticed, I've always had co-hosts. Because talking by myself is the equivalent of pulling teeth. I'll lock this source. And I'm going to troubleshoot why we pooped the snoot. Because it's quiet in here, it's just me. If it's going to be that kind of night, I'm okay. I've had those kind of nights before. Widget not working. Streamlabs. Why? Browser extensions. Why aren't you not working? Toots, if you can hear the sound of my voice, scream twice if you're in Milwaukee. Let's see. MOTN live. Oh man, gotta jump back in and test. Test. Okay, it's working there. And we're gonna jump back to ISO and mic. Needless to say, this mask is killing me. All right. Man. This is just one of those kinds of streams. Well, I honestly don't know why it isn't working, but that's fine. You never sent the link. Oh, I sure didn't. I sure did not. Let me go ahead and send that now. Now that we're back in this one. It blinked a little bit there, but that's okay. Copy. I'm just going to do some behind the scenes things. Uh-oh. Things are chugging a little bit. Oh, man. Let's see what we can get working. What a nightmare. Alright, Toots, if you can hear the sound of my voice, the link is set. Sent. Hopefully you get that. I'll keep an eye out for the moment. Over here doing the Lord's work, you shun me. Shun Money's there? Shun Money's not on the stream. Shun Money's here. Hi, Shun Money. Shun Money. Shun Money. Shun Money. I'm trying to figure out to get chat working, bruh. Of course, I cough because I can't breathe in this thing. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. See if anything pops up. No, this whole enhanced chat widget is ass, dog. It doesn't work. Oh, man. Fun stuff, fun stuff. Is Toots here? Hey, Pops. Oh, at least that's working. What's going on, Mike Prime? You get to see me flounder on a Friday night. I'm going to try to drink water under the mask. Don't look at my visage. No one can see my visage, dog. Always. Always. So, Toots will be logging in if she's not already here. Let's see how this is going. Testing the stream, testing the system. Toots, I can see your headset. Pops, Toots, you're coming in kind of. I see the thumbs up. Am I coming in choppy? I have to watch the episode. Okay, it looks like it's coming in smooth. You are a bit choppy, Toots. I know you can't see the words that are coming out of my mouth, but I can't see the words that are coming out of your mouth. Alright, she's gone. And she will return in Avengers Age of Ultron. So just a heads up, it's just me tonight. Toots is doing the Lord's work, but she's trying to pop in and wash is otherwise indisposed. I'm trying to do things, and they're not exactly doing. But that's okay. That's why we troubleshoot. What sucks is that most of the stuff you can only troubleshoot while you're live. At least I haven't figured out a way to troubleshoot outside of being live. So, Pops, if you see me, am I coming in clear? Can you hear me? Or is there any stuttering? I need to know because I did a lot of things to try to mitigate the CPU usage of this thing, because I think that was the culprit for all of the drops and things of that nature. So I'm trying to see if anything that I've done has affected the stream. So please let me know. How's it looking? How am I sounding? That's not the name of the episode, by the way. Yes, that's not an answer. I need you sound great. It looks great. You sound horrible. It looks horrible. Let me know. Let me know. No, you weren't coming in at all, Toots. You were frozen. Yes, I have to keep talking and talking because it's just me, dog. and talking and talking. No, you weren't coming in. You were totally frozen. You're frozen. You're frozen when your heart's not open. I'm going to break the glasses trying to do this. No, I'm not going to do that. Abort. Abort. Abort on mic. You know what? You sit in this chair with the mask on and the sweats and try to fill an hour. I'm 15 minutes in. I'm done. I don't know what else to talk about, bro. I got fire though. As far as that's all the skills and power I have. What can I do? It's Friday night, bro. And this episode will go down one way or another. Well, I guess it's just gonna be ISO on mic. Toots give the old college try, and that's okay. We can try again later. Later, skater. Normally, it'll be us three. We would talk about what we've done during the week, and wackiness would ensue. But it's ISO on mic. It's funny. This reminds me of the very first time I did the Masters of the Nerdiverse, the very, very, very first episode, many years back. Like, I think this podcast is almost what 7, 8 years old now, and I was just filling space and was so uncomfortable. And yeah, that seems to be the course of action, Toots. Anyway, yeah. For some reason, it's not coming in. You see, did you try to jump back in? No, it's fine. Yeah, it's that kind of stream. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a hot 30, and then I'll be back tomorrow night for figured it out. So I guess I'm gonna use this as a therapy session almost. And I may delete this VOD later, but I don't care. It's just me. We're hanging out. ISO on mic. I guess I'll use this time to really talk about what makes me tick. And and just say this into the ether to anyone who's listening. Why did I start Masters of the Nerdiverse? What made me want to do this? Honestly, it was because I was feeling my age. I was like in my early 30s, and I still loved this nerd shit, you know? Like, I still loved comics and movies and video games and things like that. And, at the office, you can only, you find that one person that is on your wavelength. But, you kind of need more. And it's hard to have these conversations as an adult, So I was like, how can I open a door to have these nerdy kind of geeky conversations at my big age? And I was just getting into podcasts. A lot of my inspiration came from podcasts like the Super Best Friend Cast. Shout outs to Matt, Pat, and Willie and Liam from Canada. A lot of how I do this is based upon their trial and error. A lot of movie podcasts like the Greatest Movie Ever podcast. Shout outs to them. And of course, Horror 101, Educating Your Fears. They're up in Canada as well. So I was listening to podcasts and I said, I'm going to throw my hat into podcasting. Why not? You know what I mean? And like a year before I made the Masters of the Nerdiverse logo, looked nothing like it is now, but I made it like a year before I actually started, and I didn't have a co-host. I was definitely afraid to be on camera. This is post Zoom everything. I was never on camera, so I didn't want to be on camera. And it was all, I was like, oh, I could just do audio podcast. And I was like, well, don't much like speaking either. So I was like, but you got to come out your comfort zones and break that up. So first, at the very beginning, the very, very first episode, you could probably find that on Spotify or Spreaker. It's literally me just doing this, just talking and just voicing my opinions. There was no live, there was no interactive aspect to it. And I thought the episode was a big flop, and I was like, okay, I need chemistry. I need some kind of chemistry. I come alive when I'm talking with other people. And at first, my absolute very first host was my best friend, childhood friend, friend of the channel, Bradley. And we did the episodes for quite some time. A few episodes we were doing. I remember vividly, we were doing them from his mother's living room. And we were podcasting and talking about nerd stuff. And he wasn't really into the nerd stuff like I was, but he was enough to hold a conversation. He was more into like, kung fu movies and basketball and things like that. And I just happened to want to talk about the Clone Saga for 3 hours. And his mom would come in with topics. She would write down topics on a sheet of paper. She just kept coming in, and like talk about world hunger and things like that. And I was like, no, miss, no, ma'am, we can't do that. Um, and so Bradley was like, okay, maybe this. And me and Bradley talked. Maybe this is not the best place to do it, or this is not the best format. So Massive Thunderverse take a break, and then I got the bright idea to start looking for co-hosts on Reddit. You know, because Reddit can be feast or famine, really, depending on the communities you join. Um, and then I was like hit or miss with communities. Some communities they welcome you with open arms. On MOTN figured it out Saturday nights at 8. I praise the 1/6 scale community because they are very open. They're very inviting. They're not gatekeepy. They tricks of the trade. So I just jumped on a podcast. I jumped on a podcast Reddit thread and said, "Who wants to be my co-host? This is what I talk about." And that's how I found Winter, Trash Monk the Third. And I said, "Okay, man, let's do a movie review and see how our chemistry hits. See if we can see how we mode and how we mesh." And me and Winter hit it off like gangbusters, man. We did hundreds of episodes together. He was really, my other guy. Me and Winter against the world at the time. You know what I mean? And we had some classic episodes. We did a lot of movie reviews. Shout outs to Darren, who I worked with at the company who shall not be named. He really was clutch and really gung ho to do a lot of the movie reviews that we've done. Um, even my own pops, Mike Prime did an episode with me back in the day. I believe we did RoboCop. That's when he just had his throat surgery and his voice was just coming back. Those are very good times. And then at that point, Winter started gaining more responsibilities. He became a pastor of his own church, and he couldn't do the show anymore. And I was like, oh no, that kind of bummed me out for a little while. And I was like, okay, well, how does this move forward? How does MOTN continue? And at that point, we had recently, and mind you, Brian, shout outs, Wash, was a big part of those early days as well because he would jump in on certain conversations. He would jump in for Star Wars talk. This was early back in the day. I mean, we watched a ton of episodes together, Mortal Kombat movie reviews and all that fun stuff. And I was looking for a new co-host because I had to make way for Winter, and he was moving. He was, saddling up that old dusty trail. And we were doing D&D episodes. You can find those D&D episodes. Shout outs to King of Myths, and absolutely shout outs to Austin. Austin was really cool. He was really chill, and we had really good chemistry. So I said, okay, Winter's on his way to leave the podcast. Austin, would you mind, taking the reins? Would you want to do this with me? And Austin was like, sure, buddy, let's do it. But his only caveat was that he didn't want to be on camera, which I totally understood. And at the time, there was no need for camera, so I was totally okay with that. And we did a bunch of episodes. Then we did movie reviews. We were one of the first ones to do. What was that series? It was MOTN Matinee, and he also helped me with one of our biggest episodes. Is when I need to get back in touch with them. Was the interview we did with Arrow Studios, Arrow Films, the company that makes HD versions of horror movies and HD versions of of what's the word I'm looking for, like schlocky, almost like pulp films, and that was a big thing for us. We were actually sponsored by Arrow for a while. Shout outs to Arrow. And we were going along, and then the pandemic hit. And the pandemic hit and kind of turned everybody upside down. Upside down your turnomy. And, that kind of put a halt on everything. And once we kind of got out of that even a little bit, the world had changed, right? I wasn't going to. I would just take my podcast stuff in my backpack and go to Jeffrey's. Jeffrey's Comics. Shout out Jeffrey's Comics, and we would record an episode. Couldn't do that anymore, and the world had switched over to Zoom calls and telehealth, and everything was on camera. So after that pause, I wanted to bring back the channel, but I wanted to do something different. I didn't want it to just be audio. I wanted to add a visual concept to it. I didn't want it to be the same, and I wrestled with that for years. And for those who have been a part of this channel, knows that there was like a good 2-year break, 2-3 year break for the Nerdiverse, and I just didn't have the desire to do it because everything was pandemic talk. There was no movies, there was no excitement, there was no video games. It was just survival. We were all just trying to figure it out. Saturday nights at 8. And I just stopped doing it. I didn't have the desire to do it for a very long time. But everybody would kind of, every once in a while, Toots mostly, poke me in the ribs and say, Mike, you got to bring back MOTN. Mike, you got to bring back MOTN. And honestly, in being transparent, I just didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know what could we do. I didn't want to do the same format. And I kind of just really wrestled with that for a second. Who will be my hosts? How would we move forward? And that's where Toots and me and Tootie Odin had a history of doing a ton of episodes. We did so many MOTN top 10s. Our Joker movie review is goated. We had a lot of history there. So Toots was like, I'll be your co-host. She's very was very excited to have that opportunity. And I was like, well, we just need something else. We need one more thing. And that's why I maintained my relationship with Brian Wash. And he was like, I'll do it. Brian's very roll up his sleeves. I'll do it, And I was like, okay, a trifecta. That could work. Okay. Nobody has any issues being on camera. Toots was like, hell no. Wash is a former actor. You know what I mean? So it's like, no problem there. The biggest issue was me. I didn't want to be on camera. That was the biggest hurdle. And on top of that, I had to learn how to translate this stuff into video. I have no video training. I had all audio training. Self-taught. So I had to learn how to put something like this together to have on stream. And it was quite the ordeal. It took about, I want to say, a few months to pull everything together until we had our first test stream. I think our first MOTN live. Mind you, this was maybe about a year ago since we brought it back. It feels like a year. If you're watching in the chat in the future, please remind me. And the rest is history. You know what I mean? And MOTN and Masters of the Nerdiverse has been quite the ride so far. And I'm just extremely thankful for those who do support and for those who shadow support and I never see and I'll never know. Those who go and watch an episode for 10 seconds or 10 minutes, an hour. That's all beauty. I'm very thankful for all of it. With all that gushy stuff being said, now I'm going to use this time to show you my nerdy shit. So I hope you're okay with that. I recently came up on some comic books that I'm just going to flash into the screen to kill this last whatever minutes we have and just talk to you and just talk kind of with you about comic books. So I don't know if you could see this. Batman issue number 678. Little Lord Fauntleroy there. I think Batman's having an existential crisis. He's not doing good. Big boy had a big day. Next one. Mind you, if you want any of these comics signed by me and Toots, let me know. I'll just do that. I don't care. I got these just on the low. I got this Daredevil Marvel Knights issue number 26 iconic cover there. I believe that's Alex Malev art. Super neat. Yeah, I was happy to come up on that one. I got this one because it was weird. It reminded me of my mom. May God, rest her soul. Roger Rabbit issue 7. I like the colors on this one. I like the animation of it, and it's never fun when you find out that your old lady's playing patty cake with somebody. Jesus. I got this weird one called L.A. Raptor #1. It's a giant. This is kind of like my dream. I love raptors. To tell you, I want a raptor at my wedding. I want a raptor at my funeral. If there was a real life LA raptor just running around destroying Los Angeles, I'll be all for it. For it. Other than that, we have Incredible Hulk #1. I forget who does the art on this. Does it say? Is it Sunny Cho? No, it's Mark Silvestri art. Good old image art. Super Vascular Hulk. All right. Next, we have Batman New 52 issue #6. I believe that's Adam Hughes art. I just like the cover. It reminds me of like Batman 1989 with that beautiful Batgirl up front. I love me some Adam Hughes art. He's one of my top 3 comic book artists of all time. In order, it goes Alex Ross, Jim Lee, Adam Hughes, Oliver Coipel. Quick and easy. I got this book here. I think it's like double-sized Wonder Woman, #200. Iconic cover. Like in this one here, just like the artwork of it. Cities are so hard to draw. Nerdiverse. Buildings. It takes a lot of patience if you're doing it by hand and not doing it by computer generation. Just note to self, if you see someone drawing buildings, they're taking their damn time, or they hired somebody else to do it to draw the background. No trade secret there. And lastly, Magneto #1. He looks kind of goofy here. I was going to use this for a future project. Secrets. But this one is a cover I was going to use for a project. I found a better cover, so I won't be using that. But it is part of the collection. Nothing else really to show over here. I got some new fake pens. I don't know if you guys care to see those for this episode. I got nothing special. I did get this one sick Venom fake pen. That shit looks hard. Kind of like 90s. Kind of like Todd McFarlane Venom. You know what I mean? Just like a mix of modern and normal Venom. I call it normal Venom. And I got this glittery, see if the camera picks it up, this glittery Skeletor. Yeah. He-Man was like $1,000. One day I'll get He-Man when I've lost my damn mind. And lastly, Shaggy from Scooby-Doo, because I was lucky enough to look up on the AP Scooby-Doo. Well, folks, it's been 35 minutes. It's been real. I hope that you watch this episode and just kind of get a better idea of where I come from, where this channel comes from, and just how appreciative I am to have the audience I have. And we're only growing. Toots is out there doing the Lord's work. She's at a festival right now. I believe it's in Santa Monica, but I'm sure she'll correct me. Passing out cards like Ninja Stars and trying to grow the channel. So from there, what's coming up next? We will be doing MOTN Figured It Out tomorrow night with me. It's a very special episode if everything works out right. My setup is still a bit dodgy, so I have to see how it works. And of course, we have random selects every other week, every other Wednesday. And hopefully the team's all back by next Friday so we can do this proper. This mask is hot. I've been, of course, your host, Mike G. Please like, comment, and subscribe on all of our content as we work hard to bring it to you. Thank you so much for your time. For everyone who has watched and will watch in the future, MOTN out.